Hello, I'm Kristen Sanford, a partner in Wile's Global Antitrust Group based in our DC office. In this installment of Wile's Alumni Interview Series, I have the privilege of speaking with my colleague, mentor, and friend, Laura Wilkinson, Senior Director and Associate General Counsel, Global Antitrust at PayPal. Laura has nearly 40 years of experience in antitrust law, focusing on mergers, acquisitions, and strategic alliances. Laura holds both a JD and an MBA from Cornell, and was a partner in Wile's Antitrust Group, where she was lead antitrust counsel for many multi-billion-dollar transactions, successfully obtaining merger clearance from the FTC and DOJ. She began her career at the FTC, where she won awards for her achievements and thought leadership, and served as Deputy Assistant Director overseeing one of the Bureau of Competition's litigation divisions. One of the wonderful things about Laura is that she is deeply committed to giving back through volunteer service and philanthropy, and throughout her career has actively supported DEI advancing groups such as the Cornell Black Lawyers Alumni Network, Wile's Black Affinity Group, now known as BLAST, and Legal Momentum, the Women's Legal Defense and Education Fund. Laura, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Kristen.
So I'll start with asking you what motivated you to choose a career in antitrust?
Well, I actually kind of fell into antitrust. I have an undergraduate degree in economics, as well as the MBA that you mentioned, in addition to my law degree. And I was looking for an area where I could really combine my economics and legal background, and antitrust came up to the top as one of those areas that is very economics-based in terms of the antitrust analysis. And so I started out at the Federal Trade Commission, and that's really what launched my career in antitrust.
Wonderful. Tell us more about your role at PayPal. And in particular, we'd like to hear about any aspects of your experience at Wile that you've applied at PayPal and how you navigated that transition from law firm to in-house.
Sure. Now at PayPal, I am responsible for the antitrust competition function globally, and that includes the merger review work that I was doing as a partner at Weil Gotshal and throughout my career in the FTC as well. But it's more expansive than that. It includes regulatory engagement on all types of antitrust issues beyond mergers, as well as counseling and training for my business and legal colleagues. And so it is an expansion in terms of scope as well as geography, because I focus primarily on US law in the rest of my career. And now I'm really responsible for a global view of antitrust competition law, which, as you know, is actually quite a hot area right now, particularly for tech companies.
Absolutely. It sounds like you have no slow days, no lack of excitement in your career then and now.
That's true.
So staying on the topic of your Wile experience, in these series, we often ask former associates what lessons they carry with them. With you, I'd like to ask what lessons you hope the Wile associates you help to develop and mentor, such as myself, still hold on to today.
I think it's very important for associates and really lawyers to think about the client that you're working with, whether that's the partner or senior associate that you're working with is your client, or in the in-house setting, my business or legal colleagues as the client. Think about that as you do your work and prepare something that they can use readily so that they have few edits to pass along to their next person in their stakeholder chain, so that whether it's an email, a memo, a brief, or a PowerPoint deck that they can use with minimal edits. That kind of client focus is something that I think I learned at Wile, but definitely I would pass on to associates as they're coming up.
I can confirm that you've shared those lessons, and thank you. Your success has spanned the public and private sectors. What has been the most critical to your career trajectory and accomplishments?
I think that the time I spent at the FTC has been most critical to my career path and trajectory. I really learned how to investigate and build a case and litigate, and those are skills that are really transferable to really any part of legal practice. But I think the other part about my career at the FTC is that I really learned the regulatory perspective because I was the regulator. And I brought that to my work in counseling and advising clients as a law firm partner, but even today, counseling my business colleagues as we think about things through the regulator's lens that helps you really ground you in the antitrust work.
That's really helpful to hear about. Before we close, I did want to ask what's been particularly fulfilling for you in your diversity and inclusion work, and what do you consider the most important achievements in this field over the past several decades and important going forward?
I think that, the industry has changed so much in the many years that I've been practicing. There were very few women and people of color in the profession generally, and in antitrust and sophisticated practices in particular. And I think that that has changed over time. I hope that I've played some small part as a role model or mentor, but I think that just championing diversity through all of our interactions and through our bar associations, law firms, companies is important to advancing diversity and inclusion in the profession.
That's great, Laura. I can tell you it's certainly made a difference for me. Laura, it was such a pleasure to host you in this interview and to hear you share your distinguished career with our Weil Alumni Network. Weil Alumni, please stay tuned for future programming.